Alrighty, let's head into going into individual pages from our work. So I'm gonna hit npm start here. You're gonna see that we have our work. And what I wanna do basically is when I click on the athlete here, or maybe the racer, when I click on it, I want it to take me to this movie's individual page with its own images and own text and stuff like that. Now, to be honest, for us to do that thing is not really possible. And why is that? Well, normally how these websites work, like IMDb and everything else that you can think of, is they make a request, an API request. So basically, when we load up this work page, the data and the pictures and everything and the text here that we're getting from it is not done the way we're doing it right now, which is, let's go here. Here, what we do is we manually add the text and manually add the images. Normally, we would use an API to get these movies. So the way we would do it is we would literally just save that data into our state. And from the state movie, we would map over it. And for each movie, we would create an individual movie component like this, right? And this one is going to have its own title and stuff like that, right? So dynamic, everything is going to be dynamic. In our case, we did it manually here, which is fine, especially if we're creating an offline website like this or just a presentational website. Okay, it's fine not to have any data or using an API. But I want to let you know, if you want to create dynamic content, that's kind of the approach that we would take. And as for going to each individual's movie details, again, when we click on a movie, we would make an API request to get that movie's specific details. However, since we're not making any API requests, I made a file here with some data about each movie. And you're going to find this in the GitHub repo. It's called movie state that you can copy and paste over. Or if you want to be hardcore, you can just copy paste it right now, and I'm going to show it to you. So I'm just going to copy paste it in our source folder. So right here in the source, the movie state. And this is basically what I did. I just imported all the images from the image folder here. The athlete, good times, racer, and athlete 2, good times 2, and the racer 2, just an additional image. And I just created a big array of objects. So export const movie state, return just an array with each individual object. And this object basically contains the title, the main image, a secondary image, a URL, and an array of awards with just random awards about the specific movie. Okay, and that's it. And the second object, again, same thing, just with the other movies. So the title, the main image, the URL, another image, and awards. And you can add more if you want to here. If you want to add this movie text or something to talk about the movie, feel free to add more to it. Again, we're not using an API here, but don't worry. The next project, we're going to talk everything about APIs and how to build out projects using them, because that's a very, very important subject when it comes to React. Okay, but now we're going to do it this way. Okay, so we created that movie state here with all the different movies. So what do we do? Well, since this is going to be a page, I'm going to go here to pages and create a new file. I'm going to call this movie detail.js. Like that. Let me make sure I'm recording. I'm recording. Okay, very good. So in this movie detail, I'm just going to create I'm going to import React first of all. Then I'm going to create a movie detail page like that. Okay. And here what I want to do is somehow get that movie that I'm looking for. So when I click on this, right, I want to get that specific movie. So how can we access that? Wait, let me see what's going on here. Refresh, go here. Okay. I have so many links opened. Okay, there we go. Okay. So first of all, let's just, actually before we do that, let's just go here and import a few other things. I'm going to import styled from styled components, That's something that we're gonna need. And I'm gonna import something specific from React Router DOM. And what this is gonna be is called use history. Wow. From React Router DOM. Okay, here I'm just gonna go and add a div with a h1 of movie detail for now. Okay, that's it. And let's just export it. Export default movie detail. I'm gonna explain what this use history is and everything else, but for now I just want to export this and basically give it the React Router functionality to it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go back to our app, right? Because this is where we're routing things. So let's import that page here. Import movie detail from /components/movie. Actually, it's in pages, right? pages/movie detail. Okay, so how are we gonna render this one out? What kind of path are we gonna give this? Well, let's go down here, or we can do it up here. We can add a route like that, and we can render out movie detail here. And where is this path gonna bring us to? Well, what I'm gonna do is say /work/:ID like that. So what this means is basically any kind of text that is gonna come here, it's gonna bring us to this movie detail, okay? So this is kind of like a dynamic text that we have in here. If you add :and ID, which means if I write something like work/blah blah blah like that, that's gonna bring me to movie detail and not to work. Okay. Now we have an error here. It's gonna say expected an assignment or function call instead saw an expression in movie detail. So let's go over and see what's up. Okay, here we have to return this. That's why it's giving us an error. So let's make sure we're returning this whole div right here. Okay, so now if we take a look and we go to work/something else, it's still not gonna work because if you remember, the switch statement stops as soon as it detects basically if it matches the first part of the URL. So if we go here to app, it detected /work and it stopped. It didn't go to the next one. So what we can do to this work, we can also add exact. Okay. So now if we go to work, okay, it's gonna bring us to work, but if we add /whatever text, it's gonna bring us to movie detail, which is exactly what we want. Again, so what this means is we can add anything after the slash and it's gonna bring us to this movie detail. Okay, that's everything we need to do here is to kind of hook this up to make it work. Let's head back to, let's go to movie detail here and set everything up. So what's this use history that we just brought in? Well, let's check it out. I'm gonna just add it to a variable here and say use history. I'm gonna console log out history. Okay, hit save. So take a look. When I go over, let's open up F12. I'm gonna go over to /work/hello or something. Look at this. It's gonna give us information about where we are. It's gonna give us a bunch of information like the location where we are, the path name, maybe a search term if we did that, and more information. So what I can do here is I can basically import the movies in here and I can check on the URL where we are to see if it matches the URL from this object right here. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. So let's go here and just say import. And again, if we have an API, this is done in a much simpler and easier way. So you wouldn't have to worry about this. Another way you could do this is to just literally create a component for each project and then hook it up that way. So that's something you can do as well. Literally just create 3 components with movie detail, and each component has its own specific page and layout and images and whatever. So there's multiple ways you can do this. But we're going to do it the weird way, just to learn about use history, because this is a property that you might use. Okay, so let's import the movie state. Movie state. Make sure it's all uppercase from ... movie state, like that. Okay, so I'm gonna take out the URL from this history by saying const URL is equal to history dot location dot path name. Okay, that's gonna literally give us the URL. And now in here, I can just create a movie state. So I'm gonna add a comma here and say use state. I'm gonna have movies and set movies, which is gonna be equal to use state and basically this movie state, right? This whole object here. I'm gonna import it into this file and set it equal to this component's state. And now what I wanna do is extract that specific movie based on the URL. So I'm gonna say const movie slash set movie is equal to use state, and by default I'm gonna set this to null. Okay, and now when this component first loads up, I want to check and then update this specific movie to the movie from here. Okay, so if that doesn't make any sense, I'm gonna explain it again. What I'm gonna do is import useEffect in here, and basically I'm gonna add a useEffect down here. useEffect. So basically I want this to run as soon as the component mounts. So I'm gonna add an arrow function here, and all I'm doing, basically my plan is to do is when we click on a movie is to load up that movie specific information. So the useEffect here is gonna run when the component mounts. So what I want to do here is say const current movie and set this equal to, I'm going to grab the whole movies state here. So all the movies in here and just find out which movie we are on. So I'm going to say movies.filter, and here we have access to the state movie. So all of these, we have access to them. And then here I'm going to run an arrow function like that. Basically what I want to do, hold up, let me make some space here. Okay, so we have an arrow function here. I can say state movie dot URL triple equals to the URL up here from the history. Okay, so we're comparing this URL from this whole list to the one where we are on the page right here. Okay, so that's all we're doing. Okay, and now that we have it stored here in the current movie, I can set the movie to the current movie like that. And here in the dependencies, basically I want this to run every time movies updates and the URL updates. So every time the URL changes or the history changes, I want to execute this useEffect. Okay, let's close this up and see what's up. Okay, so back here, let's take a look what's happening now if we go to /d/athlete. And okay, we are in the movie detail, so nothing happens. However, if we press F12 and go here to components, oh, my neighbor is cutting the grass. Are you serious? Okay, so if we go here now and check let's find the component app nav link. It can be quite tricky to go all the way down and find it. Where is it? Let's close up the nav. Movie detail, here we go. So as you can see here, now we have the state with this specific movie. So the athlete with the main image and the second image, and the URL and the awards. So we basically managed to filter it out and save it here in its own state. So now this is dynamic again because we have this filtering system going on here. So if we go to the racer URL, it's going to pull out this one. If we go to the good times, it's going to pull out the last one. Okay, so now we can use everything in this data here to basically make our component. And again, if you want to customize this and add more feel free to do it. Go in here, add maybe a main paragraph to each one of these movies, add text, add images, whatever you want. So I highly recommend you to go in and customize it even more. Okay, neighbor. Right? Always. So this always happens whenever I want to film. They start cutting grass. The fantastic times of creating content. Okay, so let's style this up a bit. Again, I'm gonna do it a bit, and you can go in and do more if you want to. I'm just gonna do a minimal styling here. So what I'm gonna do is in here, let's call this movie details. I'm just gonna create a style component, const details, and set this equal to a style div, like this. Details, like that. In here, I want to also have a headline. So basically this is going to be our headline. Const headline is equal to styled div. I'm going to add a headline here as well. And here I'm going to have a h2, and I'm just going to pull out the movie.title from here, from the state, okay, since we have it saved. And now I'm going to have an image with the movie.main_image. We have it in that, like that. And let's save this, and actually let's just see if this works. So by default, we're going to get this error, cannot read title or property title of null. Now, what is this problem? Well, by default, we set our movie as null, and until it gets the data, it takes like a fraction of a second. So it's gonna throw an error for us until it gets this data. So what we can do is we can do a check. If the movie is not available yet, then don't render anything out. So what we can do here is I'm gonna add a fraction here like that, to wrap it around nothing, basically. And in here, what I can do is say, hey, curly brackets, if our movie is available and just take this last part here, cut it, and just wrap this, actually, let's just do it this way, just add the parentheses here and wrap everything in a parentheses and curly brackets like that. So what this means is make sure the movie is available, and only when the movie is available, render out this content. If the movie is not available, this is not gonna show up, okay? And we just added the fractions here so the React doesn't error out for us, okay? So take a look now. We can see we don't have any errors anymore, so that's good. Now, our image is not loading up here, so let's see what's up with that. Let's say the athlete. Okay, the racer. Why is this not loading up? We're not getting any errors. Okay, let's console log out the movie. Console log and the use effect here. Console log movie. Okay, it seems like we get null, so that's strange. Let's console log it out down here before we return it. Oh, okay, there we go. So we have an array of an object. Because if you remember, our movies here is an array of objects. And when we filtered out each individual movie, so we got one movie, we still have an array of an object. So what we need to do is access this array before we can do movie.title, okay? Because right now we need to do movie0.title because we need to go inside the array. So what we can do here is when we set the movie, just set the current movie 0 like that. So we go inside and we're only left with an object. So now if we console log out movie here, it's just an object, There we go, it's just an object. So now we can access it with movie.title, movie.main.image, movie.secondary.image, etc., etc. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. When we use filter on an array, we're still left with an array. Okay, that's it. Super simple. And look at that. Okay, there we go. Our image works and our title works as well. Let's try deracer. There we go. That works as well. Let's try something else. Let's try good times. Everything works. Perfect. So, hope everything is clear here that we did so far. I'm going to recap it again because I really want this to be extraordinarily super duper clear. So I actually want to go back to the beginning. How can we do dynamic content? Well, first of all, there are 3 methods we could have done this, the thing that we done. The first one is to just create 3 individual components for each of these movie detail pages. So a specific component for this, a specific component for the eraser, a specific component for the other one. Okay, that's the simplest way. The advantage there would be that we could customize them the way we want. And all you do is you literally just create those 3 components, and here at our work, you would just add a link to that specific movie page, and that's it. That's all you need to do. So that's the simplest way. We did it a bit differently. We created a movie data here, and we separated basically the data from the components. So we have all the data here with the movie, with the title, the images and everything. And all we did was we literally just did a comparison up here using React Router DOM's history, because I really wanted to show you this because this is a very useful tool that you're going to be using in the future. So we basically check the path here of the current page that we're on. Again, that's an information that use history gives us. And we can check it here, and we basically compare it to the URL from our movie state right here. Okay, and if it matches, then we're going to set it equal our state. We are going to set our state equal to that specific data. Okay, and the ideal way of doing this is you're using an API, and that way it's extraordinarily simple. You basically just fetch that current movie based on the URL. That's it, or based on a title. And that's going to be the simplest one. And we're going to do that again in the next project. But I hope that cleared everything up a bit. Okay, so let's style this up a bit. And let's also add a few other things. Let's go here to the details. I'm just going to add a color of white here. In the headline, let's go here. I'm going to add a minimum height of 90 VH, a padding top of 20, a position of relative. Again, wherever you see me adding a position relative means that we're going to use its children here to kind of move it where we want to. So I'm going to add a position absolute to the title. I'm just going to move it top 10%, left 50%. I'm going to transform and translate this to minus 50% and minus 10%. So let's see how that looks. So there we go, kind of in the center here. I'm going to stretch out this image as well. So I'm going to go here to the image and add a width of 100%, height of 70 VH, and an object fit of cover. Like that, the neighbor stopped, thank God. Okay, perfect. So this is what we have. Now let's also start adding the awards. So what I'm going to do is, let's go up here after the headline. I'm going to have an awards. And the neighbor started again. Fantastic. Okay, like that. An award, awards, div. So let's create it down here. I'm going to say const awards is equal to a style div, like this. I'm going to leave it empty for now. And what I want to do here is to map over each individual award in this data. So as you can see here, we actually have an awards with an array of objects with a title and description for each one. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here, and from the state, I'm going to say movies, movie I should say awards dot map, and for each award in here, I'm going to add an arrow function and a pair of parentheses like that because I'm returning something here. So what do I want to return? I want to return a award. Now what is this? Well, we're going to create a component down here, and we're going to style each individual award to look in a certain way. So let's do that. I'm going to scroll down here all the way at the end. Award component. I'm just going to do everything in one file here. I'm going to say const award is equal to an arrow function and curly brackets, and I'm going to return a div with a h3. Here we're going to have the title, then we're going to have a line just for stylistic purposes and a text with the description. Okay, so this is how it looks. And I'm going to render this out for each individual award. Okay, so there we go. So we have 3. Now here I'm going to pass down all the information that we need. So I'm going to pass down a title. I'm going to set it equal to award.title. I'm going to pass down a description, which is going to be award.description. Again, this is data that I'm pulling out from the movie state here. Title, description, right? And finally, I'm going to give it a key because everything that we map over needs a key. I'm going to call this award.title as well because these are going to be pretty unique. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so now we have access to this information in our component down here. So we can extract it by saying title and description. So here we can just say curly brackets, curly braces title, curly braces description, and hit save. Let's take a look, and look at that, we pulled out each individual description. So again, to recap, all we did was we just created another component here with a basic h3 and a basic p tag, and we just rendered it out down here. And the data, this is the data that we get from the movie state here, and we just pass them down as props. We pass it down in props, we have it available here, and then we just render them out. So now we can style everything up nicely again. Ooh, my voice. Excuse me. We can style everything up. So let's go here to the awards, add a min height to this. Let's do 80VH. Let's do a display flex, a margin, 5 rem, 10 rem, align items, center, justify content, space around. There we go. My voice. Oh my goodness. Let's also style up this award. Now I'm not going to name it the same way award because that's going to error out. So I'm going to say award style dot div. There we go, a style div. Here I'm just going to add a bit of padding. I'm going to grab the H3 and just increase the font size a little bit. So now we can grab this and basically replace this empty div here with the award style. Okay, and there we go. That's how it looks, much better. Let's also add that line so it looks a bit more stylistic. Let's see here, award style. So right here, I'm gonna grab that line, add a width to it of 50%. I'm gonna add a background to 3D997. This is that green color that we used. A height 0.5 rem and a margin of 1 rem, 0 rem. There we go, a little line. How nice. Perfect. Okay, I mean, I guess we could stretch this all the way out. 100. Does that look better? That looks better. Okay, let's leave it at 100%. Okay, and then down here, let's also grab the p tag and just add a bit of padding to it. 2 rem, 0 rem. Like that. Okay, finally, what I want to do is add the secondary image up here. So let's scroll all the way up here. And after the awards, I'm just going to create an image display. And this is going to be an empty div that we're going to style up in just a bit. And the source is going to be movie.secondaryImage. Again, this movie is the state from here, and we have another image that I could put in here. So let's grab this image display and create it somewhere down here. Styled div. Okay. And all this is going to have is a height, a minimum height of 50 VH. And I'm going to grab the image inside and just stretch it out. Width 100, height 100, VH. You can do whatever you want with this. I'm just going to add it. I'm just going to drop it in there for you. There we go. Okay. Again, feel free to kind of customize this and make it the way you want it to. And again, if we want more, we can go here to movie state, and I can go maybe to, what is this? Good Times. Okay, I can head over to Good Times, Racer, Good Times in here, and maybe I can add a description or something, a description like that. And here I can say Lorem 20. It doesn't work. Let me just add some random text. Okay, so we can add the movie text, and basically up here in the movie detail, I have access to it now wherever I want. So I can maybe go here and just say description. And look at that. We have that text. So you can add to each individual one and add more to this page if you wanted to. I'm just going to go back here to the title, and I'm going to go and get rid of it because I don't need it. Okay, so there we go. Now the cool thing about this, compared to us creating each individual page, like each individual components, is everything is dynamic now. So basically I can go here to the racer, and look at that, everything is all up and running, and we have the racer image here. I can go over to the athlete. Okay, and we have the athlete with everything. Okay, so that's kind of the powerful thing about this, is we just have one component here set up and everything else works magically. Okay, is that gonna be it? This took quite a, this is a long episode, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, last thing, let's just go here to our work and use the link here to basically go to that page. So when we're on the athlete, I want to go to /work/the athlete, like that. I'm going to copy this over. We have the racer here, the racer, and finally Good Times. Good/times. Okay, perfect. Let's take a look. Our work, click, there we go. Click, there we go. And lastly, click, and there we go. Perfect, we did it. Congratulations. Tap yourself on the back, because this was a bit difficult. I highly recommend you to watch this again. Hopefully it's going to clear things up for you. But we are on our way to make this special with special animations and other good stuff. Okay, see you in the next one.